welcome to episode 47 of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. My name is Ali and this is my podcast to talk about all things knitting, crochet and craft related. I live in Kent in the UK with my husband and our two daughters, and this episode is very hastily and last minute put together, so you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to try and keep it quite short for me because I do tend to ramble on. I've made some notes, I've got a load of stuff together. The kids are at home, they are upstairs. I'm not sure what they're up to, they're being suspiciously quiet, but I am most definitely going to get interrupted. But I realise we are really getting on in August and it's been a long time since I last did a proper podcast. Sorry about that. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for your patience. And if you're new, thanks for joining me. There's been a few new subscribers pop up on my little dashboard thing where they tell you what your numbers are. So it's really nice that you've decided to come and join us or join me, because there's only one of me. Yeah, so it's really nice that you've decided to subscribe. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while. I last did a proper sit-down podcast in June, and then I did vlogs throughout July, and then it was the school holidays, and we've been away, and we've only got back yesterday from our trip to Scotland and Manchester, so it has been a bit busy, and I figured I'd better film a podcast as soon as I possibly could. So I have very hastily put together everything, and we're just going to crack on and hope that I cover everything, but I'll probably forget loads, and if I do, I'm just going to film again in a couple of weeks anyway, and we'll pick it up then. So, have I got anything else to say in the introduction? Oh yes, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Starry Eyes Ali, and all of the notes for things I talk about are underneath this video in the little description box, and I also put timestamps for each section in case you want to jump about or or if you're looking for a certain thing. We're going to talk about I'm going to mention the Dodgy Bag MAL in a minute, some finished objects, works in progress, some incoming bits, and as if I need to turn over to look at this bit. I'm going to do some giveaways, so I've got a few exciting things to give away, and I'm going to sort of bundle that all together in a sort of mega 6,000 subscriber giveaway, because when I last filmed we were almost up to 6,000 subscribers, or we just passed it, and now we're up to almost 6,500, which is just insert mind blown emoji here, because I just it's amazing. Thank you so much to everyone that is subscribing. So I've got a few things to give away for that, and then the thing that we've all been waiting for, the Strictly Sock Along 2019. I just read today that it's possible that the launch show could be as early as the 7th of September. So that was one of the reasons why I panicked and was like, right, I've got to film a podcast because we've got to talk about this. So that's everything. Stop rambling. Let's get stuck into finished objects. I have a few finished things to share with you. The first thing is my souvenir shawl. This is a pattern by Maria Samuelson, and it was actually gifted to me by the pattern designer, so thank you so much, Maria. That was really, really lovely of you. And the reason that I made it is a viewer of this podcast, and yes, a friend of this podcast, she won a prize in one of our giveaways previously, and with the yarn that she won, she made me a souvenir shawl with it, and it was so gorgeous, and I wear it all the time. And I had this precious skein of Nora George Snowdrop yarn, which was also a gift from a lovely friend of mine, Lou. And I decided to make a souvenir shawl with it because it's a perfect one skein project. And I'm so pleased with how it turned out. And just like Ellie did with the version that she made me, I copied her and I've put tassels on the end. You'll have to excuse me, I am filming this completely blind. Normally I have this all set up with a mirror behind the camera so I can see that I'm in shot and that the things I'm showing you are in shot, but I didn't have time to do that today. I just set the camera up on my new little tripod, which was a lovely present from my friend Lily, which is working out brilliantly. Thank you so much, Lily. Hello. So I don't know what I'm filming. I can't see, so hopefully I haven't got my head cut off the top, or I'm off to the side, or I'm showing you something and I'm actually not showing the camera properly. Hopefully you can see. It's a really lovely pattern, very, very simple to get into, very simple lace section there, and yeah, the addition of the tassels just adds that little bit of length. I'll put it on. Have I got this the right way around? No, that's the back side of it. That's the front side. And it just sits really beautifully like that, and it's really nice to wear with a coat or something because it just sits so nicely and you don't have a huge amount of bulk here. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with that. Right, just careful not to get that caught. This is my stitch marker necklace, which was a gift from Hannah of Sheep's Alley. If you haven't watched her podcast, please do go and watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's one of my favourites. And she made me one of these, and she sent another one as a prize for the Dodgy Bag MAL as well, which I've just realised I haven't mentioned. So I will. Before I show you the rest of my finished objects, I will just mention the Dodgy Bag MAL. But first, is there anything else to say about my finished souvenir shawl? I don't think so. It's a great pattern. I really liked it. There's a project page for it on my Ravelry if you want to go and find out the needle size that I used or any more details, assuming that I've remembered to put that information on there. But yeah, really pleased with that, and looking forward to some colder autumnal weather so I can wear it. I'm looking for a space to put it down now, but yeah, not much space. We'll just put it there. We'll put it behind me. Okay, before we move on to the other finished things that I want to show you, I am really late in announcing my winners for the Dodgy Bag MAL. Now, the Dodgy Bag make-along was something that I ran with Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. Hi, Claudia. She's absolutely lovely, and it was her idea to run this last year, and we had so much fun doing it, and it was such a success that we decided to do it again this year. However, I'm really behind in announcing my winners. I think we extended it, so it ended at the end of June. So I'm almost 2 months behind announcing my winners. So what I'm going to do so that I can keep this particular podcast a bit shorter is I'm going to announce those winners in a separate video, which I'm going to film today as well. So I will link to that below. And if I can, I'll work out how to do that wizardry where you can link to it on the screen. So if I've worked it out, that'll pop up on the screen somewhere now. But if not, just look down below. And if you entered into the Dodgy Bag MAL, go and watch the Dodgy Bag MAL Winners video where I will be announcing the winners there. I've got, hang on, did I write this down? Yes, so I've got another necklace like this, very similar to this one as one of my prizes. There's the Wingardium Leviosa socks as well, and there is some yarn from Attic Spin Dye. Have I put that somewhere where I can reach it? Yes, I have. Here it is. There's this yarn as well. This is beautiful. It's called Daffodil, and that is one of the prizes as well from Attic Spin Dye. So if you entered the Dodgy Bag MAL this year, go and watch that video now and see if you are one of the prize winners. Good luck. Okay, moving back on to finished objects. I made some Brian the penguins. Now, when we went to Fibre East, my sister and I went to Fibre East at the end of July, and I did do a little film about it, which is in my July vlogs. And whilst we were wandering around there was a yarn stall that we'd not seen before called Made by Penguins. And they had at their stall an absolutely ginormous crocheted amigurumi penguin called Brian. And they were doing a thing where they would give you like a little canvas bag if you took a picture with Brian for Instagram or something. And I filmed him and I said, oh, I'm going to put him on my podcast. And they gave me a little bag. And I picked up a copy of the pattern, which is free. It's free if you go on Ravelry and search for Made by Penguins Brian the Penguin, or Brian the Made by Penguins Penguin, possibly, or just go to my Ravelry projects page and you'll see mine. It's a free pattern. It's absolutely brilliant. I've got a copy of it here. Here it is. Brian the Made by Penguins Penguin, or Brian the MBP Penguin. And I couldn't resist, and I wanted to make one each for my girls to put in their little travel bags for when we were going on holiday. So here are the two that I made. I always tend to make my amigurumi things from cotton yarn just because it wears so much better. It doesn't go bobbly with lots of huggling and cuddling and things like that. So this is Brenda, this is Phoebe's penguin, and this is Buddy. That's Lilia's one. And as you can see, they've got little pink cheeks. Hopefully you can see that. I did that with watercolour paint. The pattern actually says just to use a bit of blusher. But what I did was I just dipped my finger in some watercolour paint, really watered down, and then I used a bit more water to just spread it around a bit, and it worked really well. So that's Brenda and Buddy. They actually came away with us to Scotland. There were some pictures of them on my Instagram. It's a really fun pattern to make. It was really quick. I made these two in 4 days, but obviously I wasn't crocheting solidly for 4 days, so they were really quick. The pattern was really well written, and yeah, couldn't be happier, and the girls are really pleased with them. In fact, they were a bit annoyed when I went to kidnap them from their bedrooms just now. Yeah, again, all the details are on my Ravelry project page for that. Okay, what's my, oh, as if I need to ask this. I've got a whole table full of bunnies here. If you're watching my July vlogs, and indeed if you watched my last episode, was it the last episode? Let me just check. I'm giving away here what I'm about to talk about. It was my blast from the past, but did I do it last time? Or, oh yeah, so it was in episode 45, I think. I did a project from Yore, where I talk about a project that I've made in the past, and I talked about my Moopie bunnies that I'd made, and I wanted to make some mini Moopie bunnies as part of like just something fun to have in the car for the girls. So I made them. So these are, so hang on, which one's which? So right, so these are, no, yes, brown eyes is Lilia. Right, these are Lilia's Moopie bunnies. This is her girl Moopie and her boy Moopie. They are not supposed to be perfect, and that is just as well, because they're far from it. But they are cute, and they're made entirely using upcycled fabrics. This fabric here is an old cushion. This fabric here is an old corduroy coat that I found in a charity shop. These are scraps of fabric that I had left over from other projects. This yellow was also a cushion, and this cloud fabric is actually from a curtain that I made for Lilia's bedroom. So those are Lilia's ones, because the girl's got brown eyes like Lilia has, and these are Phoebe's ones because the girl's got blue eyes like Phoebe has. And they've all got little decorations on them on the front, but on the back they all share the same little heart decoration on their bums. All of them, as you can see. So those are the Mini Moopies, and they came to Scotland with us as well. The girls thought they were hilarious, and they were really good fun to make, and I'm really glad that I got them done in time to pop in their travel bag as a nice little surprise. So those are the Mini Moopies, and those are all of my finished objects. Right, works in progress as usual. I'm not going to cover all my works in progress because I am drowning in works in progress. So I'm going to show you the ones that I've been working on the most since I last spoke to you, basically. And particularly if you watched me doing my July vlogs, you will have seen I worked a lot on my favourite jeans top. Now this is a crochet pattern by Detroit Knots, who is Natalie, and she's a crochet designer. She has some really lovely patterns. She seems to be going from strength to strength with her pattern writing. I keep seeing things pop up on her Instagram, and I keep thinking, I want to make that, I want to make that, but I've got to finish this one first. The yarn is acrylic yarn, which was a gift from my real life friend a couple of years ago for my birthday, and I wanted to find a project that would use that yarn, and this seemed perfect. So I've made the 2 panels for the main part of the body. This is the back panel, and you can do an optional sort of, not lace, what do I want to call this? Not lace. Can't think what it's called. It's an optional lacy bit, a little lacy panel here on the back. So although I'm showing it to you on the front because it would be impossible for me to show you this backwards, but the front looks exactly the same as this, except that's the solid bit. So this bit forms the top of the neck, that bit forms the bit that goes under your arm, and then I've done one sleeve here, so you can see that will, no, that's not how it works. Which way around does it go? This way. So then that will go up here and connect there, and I will seam that all together. Are you with me? I've had horrible problems with gauge with this project, but then I did manage to block it. I mentioned not knowing how to block acrylic and during my vlogs, and I got quite a few hints and tips, and in the end I blocked it with an iron on low and a tea towel on the top of it. And essentially what that means is you're slightly melting the acrylic, and it just completely transforms it. It becomes drapey. It blocked to where I had pinned it out to perfectly. And the fabric just changed completely. I was absolutely amazed. I've never done that before. And I can't remember now which tutorial I actually used or looked at, but in the end, the tutorial I watched, she had the iron on steam and she just hovered the iron over the project with the steam constantly coming out, but my arm couldn't take that. I was like, it was getting really achy and almost impossible to do, and I was really worried that I was going to somehow drop the iron onto it and just completely ruin it. So someone else had said in the comments to just iron over a tea towel, a damp tea towel, which is what I did, and that worked really well, and it didn't take much at all. I just did it very, very quickly, and that was enough to really block it. So this is the front panel, and I've come to a bit of a standstill because you do the 2 panels and then you do a ribbing along the bottom. So I got to doing the ribbing, which is here. Let me see if I can show you. So this is, I started to do the ribbing. Now I hate doing crochet ribbing. I love crochet, I love it a lot. But when it comes to crochet ribbing, oh my goodness, so tedious. Sorry if I'm just looking down here. I've got a timer on to make sure that I don't waffle too much. So as you can see, I started doing the ribbing. What you have to do is pick up a certain amount of stitches along the bottom, just evenly spaced out for the size that you're doing. And then you start to work your ribbing into those stitches. I don't know if you can see, but it's bulging out here. So that tells me I've got too many stitches picked up along the bottom. Not only that, but I don't like the ribbing in white. I've been really enjoying how these colours have been working because there is a bit of white, but it's not too glaring and in your face. And this is just going to be too much. And the reason I decided to do it in white is because that's what I had the most of. I've run out of this dark purple, which would have been my first choice. So there's no point in me doing all this work on it and then making a garment I'm not going to end up wearing. So I think what I'm going to do is take this out, take out all these picked up stitches and order some more of this purple, because I'm more likely to wear it if I do the ribbing in that purple. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do less stitches along the bottom than the pattern calls for, and I'm just going to use it, I'm going to eyeball it basically until I get it right. And I'll either do crochet ribbing as per the pattern, or I might pick up the stitches and knit the ribbing onto the bottom. I'm not sure, because knitted ribbing I like doing. So, and I love crochet and I love knitting, so it's always nice to combine the two. So because I then had to engage my brain fully and start making decisions, I put it in my lovely, lovely bag, which was a bag by Crochet Luna by Claudia, who I mentioned earlier when we did a swap last year. And I hid it back in here and just put it to one side until I can re-engage my decision-making part of my brain. So that's where that is at the moment. Okay, the next works in progress that I've been working the most on over the last few weeks are all socks. They're all knitted socks. So the first one is my little on-the-go project. These are just vanilla socks that I have in a little pouch that's really easy to throw into my rucksack or in the car if I'm going anywhere. So if I, heaven forbid, I get stuck somewhere and can't get out and I'm trapped, I'll always have knitting with me. But also it's just handy to have if I'm travelling somewhere. Whoops, I just threw a stitch marker on the floor. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I've turned the heel on both socks, so I'm knitting them concurrently, and I'm knitting them on 9-inch short circular needles. And I have done the heels and the gusset decreases on both, so now I'm just back to working round and round and round until I get to the toe. And yeah, the yarn is by Ellie of Craft House Magic. It's called Over the Rainbow, and the contrast yarn is called Cloudy Skies. And the heel is also a heel by Ellie of Craft House Magic. It's actually from her Christmas socks. Oh, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It's a tree basically in the heel, a little tree pattern. And it's actually from her Christmas socks, the candy cane socks. And I just did that for a little bit of interest. even though I'm knitting them during the summer. A little bit of Christmas in the summer. It's never too early. So I'm really pleased with those, and they're a really fun project just to have on the go. And they're living in my little cozy cute knits bag, which is the perfect little size for just scrunching up and putting in my bag. So that's been one of the projects that has been worked on quite a lot over the last few weeks. I'm just going to check that we're still recording. Yep. Okay, so the two major projects that I've worked on over the past couple of weeks have been projects for my girls. So the first one is living in one of my own dodgy bags. This is one of my most favourite bags that I've ever made. It's got Little Red Riding Hood fabric. This was a fat quarter that I bought a long time ago on eBay, and the base fabric is that corduroy cushion fabric that I spoke about earlier. And the zip is actually the zip from one of those cushions. I rescued the zip and reused it in the bag, and I was really, really pleased with how that came out. It's a perfect little sock size, and this has been to Scotland with me. I got a load of knitting done on these ones in the car on the way up to Scotland. It was a long journey, and I did my share of the driving, but when Dan was doing his share, I was knitting. The yarn I am using was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast, who is from Denmark, and she sent me a lovely parcel of things. Her name's Annette, and I talked about the bits that she sent me during my vlogs, and if you want to see everything that was in that gift of things from Denmark, go and have a look at days 6 and 7 of my July vlogs. I'll link it below, and you'll be able to see all the wonderful things that she sent me. And she included yarn each for the girls, for me to make them something, yarn for Dan for me to make him something, and yarn for me. So go and have a look at that. And for the girls, she included 2 types of Regia Perfect rainbow colour yarn, and the girls opened them just randomly, and this is the one that Lilia opened. It's colour 01735. So as you can see, it's a rainbow colour with purple and pink in it. So that's the one I'm using for her, and she wanted socks. So I'm knitting these on DPNs, and again I'm knitting them concurrently. So it's a fabulous excuse to use my wonderful DPN holders. This is my DPN holder, which was made for me by Cherie of Ollie and Bella. I absolutely love this. And this one is by Sherry Iris, and this was a lovely, lovely gift that was sent to me earlier this year for my birthday. And I'll show you, where are we? I'll show you the one that's further on first. So I'm knitting them toe up because she just wants the longest possible socks that I can make her with this one ball of yarn. So I decided to do them toe up, which I don't often do these days. I do tend to do my socks cuff down now. But if you want to get the very most out of your ball of yarn and get the very last scrap out of it, toe up is the way to go. So I cast on using Judy's Magic Cast On, which is really, really easy to do. And the good thing about Judy's Magic Cast On, if you're doing toe up socks, is you only ever have to cast on about 10 pairs of stitches. So it's not a lot of casting on to go on at the beginning, and then you just increase out to do the toe until you get to the stitch count. I'm doing these on 60 stitches for Lilia, and I am using for the first time Mina Phillip, who is the Knitting Expat. I have her vanilla socks pattern recipe, which I bought a long time ago, and it's got instructions for cuff down and toe up socks and a mini heel flap adjustment, which allows you to build in some extra stitches around the instep if sometimes that pulls a bit tight on your foot, and a German short row heel. And she includes instructions for how to do that both in the same yarn, in contrast yarn, different stitch counts, toe up and cuff down. So it's really, really versatile, and I've managed to successfully negotiate the heel, and now all I've got to do is pick up an extra stitch between the heel and the top of the foot, and then I think I'll have to just decrease those extra stitches down, and then I'll be back to my original stitch count and we're away and ready. So once I've done a few rounds of the original stitch count and gone round a bit, I will take this off the needles, put it on waste yarn, and just double check that they're fitting Lilia okay around the top of her foot. And then, oh God, I feel like I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm really sorry. Slow down, slow down. And then once I'm happy that it fits her well, I will continue with the second sock and knit up to the same point and do it in exactly the same way. The reason that, in fact, this worked out better than I could have expected. I'd originally intended to knit the full colour and then move on to the heel. But that would have given me maybe about 1/2 inch too long before starting the heel. So I just decided to not worry too much about that and just start it at the correct measurement rather than trying to make the colours stripe perfectly, if that even makes sense. So what I've done is I've done most of the heel in the pink, and I don't think I've got much of that pink left before it goes back to orange. So actually that has worked out quite well, and it's not going to be like, for example, I'm not going to have a very narrow stripe at any point. I think it's going to look quite good. So I'm really, really pleased with these. Don't they look good? They're amazing, and I hope that I can get them nice and long for her. It's 100 gram, oh, I'm all tangled up. It's a 100 gram ball, so that's going to give me 50 grams per sock, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm not doing contrast toes or cuffs or heels or anything, but that's a pretty good amount for a single sock to have a full 50 grams. And I've got all of this left to do just the leg, so I think I'm going to get some really, really good long socks for her. In fact, if they get too long, I might have to just increase a bit at the top. If they go as far as her calves, I'll increase a bit there, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. The yarn's great. The idea of it is that it gives you 2 perfectly matching pairs of socks, because there's a kind of bright yellow bit of yarn in between it, so you know where to cut it. Although with a striping yarn like this, where the contrast between the stripes is so obvious, it's quite easy to do that yourself anyway. But it was really handy when I was winding it, because I didn't have to weigh anything. I wound it until I got to that yellow starter bit and then cut it. I'm rambling. I think I'm losing my voice. I'm not used to talking so much. I haven't done a podcast in a while. I'm out of practice. Yeah, let's put those all back snugly in their DPN holder, keep them safe. And yeah, like the other one is just the same, except I haven't done the heel yet, so I've got that much left. It's a really lovely yarn to work with. It was a really nice project to work on in the car. Very happy, and I'm very happy that Lilia will have a pair of socks out of it. So Phoebe also got some yarn, and it's living in my lovely bag by Sophie, she does the Spring Snowflake podcast, but she's Sophie Swan on Instagram, and she sent me this lovely bag and a few little treats, and the badge on there that says Just Breathe, that was part of, I'm not going to be able to do this because I can't see, that was part of a little parcel of goodies that Rachel, who is So Ray sent me. And again, the stuff from Rachel, did I write down what day I talked about that? No, I'll put it on the screen. If you want to see the things that Rachel from So Ray sent me, they were really lovely, and Phoebe and I opened them together and we did a little video about it. And the bag from, did I write this down? No. The bag from Sophie, I think I also talked about on the July vlogs, and again I will put that on the screen now. But it's really, really beautiful, and it's got these poppers which are really, really satisfying to use. You hear? Stop waffling. In here I have got, for the first time in a long time, I'm making these for Phoebe, and I am making them 2 at a time, which I've not done in a long time. Oh look, I've also got my little notebook that Sophie gave me in here. It's all worth it, little notebook there. And I've also got a little pin in here, but it broke. The little pin at the back fell off of it, but it's her podcast pin. It says a spring snowflake. It's really pretty. So what I'm going to do is a gap on the back. I'm going to sew it. I'm going to put some thread through it, and I'm going to sew it to this bag instead, so I can still have it on there. Okay, so I am making Phoebe with the yarn she got for Manette. I'm making her rainbow leg warmers. Now her yarn is colour 01736. It's also a rainbow yarn, the same as Lilia's, but this one has not got the pink and purple in it. This is just a straight rainbow. So it's got the red, orange, yellow, green, and then it's got blue and then a dark blue to represent the indigo violet. So that's the one we're using for her. I've got the 2 balls in plastic bags to stop them getting too tangled up. And the pattern is not a pattern. I'm making it up. So I did quite a lot of research trying to find some good... one second, sorry, I was just restarting the camera. My phone's being a bit weird about transferring video to my computer at the moment. So I'm trying to keep the videos quite short so it makes it easier later on when I come to editing. What was I saying? Yes, leg warmers. I looked a lot around for inspiration for leg warmers for Phoebe, but I was really struggling to find any for her age group. So I did find a really good one, which I talked about on the vlogs, which was a free one, which was just really funny the way it was written. But it was for a much younger child, and I couldn't quite work out how that would work for Phoebe. So in the end, I decided to do something that was ribbed because I knew it would be stretchy. And I decided that I would quite like to not do it in my usual size of needle that I would use for socks, which is 2.25, and I wanted to do something a bit bigger so that it would work up a bit quicker. So I decided to do it on 2.75mm needles. I did also swatch a bit with 3mm needles, but I didn't like the fabric it was giving me, so I went back to the 2.75. And then I did consider doing a 2x2 rib or a 1x1 rib, but I wasn't keen. I just wanted to do something a bit different, so I decided to do a 4x2 rib. So I'm doing 4 knit stitches separated by 2 purl stitches. So it's knit 4, purl 2. And I did a little swatch, and then I measured it by stretching the swatch out and counting my stitches. So I knew what the stretched gauge was. I then measured Phoebe's leg at its widest point. Hang on a minute, I think I've written this down. Hopefully I've written it down. So I measured her leg at its widest point, which was 10.5 inches, right round the middle, but the fattest part of the calf. Okay, so the gauge I got when stretched on my swatch was 5.5 stitches per inch. So what I then did was I took the measurement of Phoebe's leg, 10.5, and I times it by 5.5, which was the stretched gauge. That gave me 57.75, and then I rounded that up to the nearest number divisible by 6, which was 60. And that's what I decided to go for, because I didn't want them to be ultra snug because they're leg warmers. She might be wearing them over leggings, and also she's going to grow. So it was a bit trial and error, and it was a bit of a rough way to do it, but it seems to have worked, and we tried these on her yesterday and they seem to be fitting her really well. I used the double start cast on, and that's also known as the Estonian cast on. I've used that on quite a few of my projects. I really enjoy doing it, and it gives a really pretty edge. So that is what I did to get these leg warmers, and this is what they look like. So they look really funny because obviously they're ribbed, so they get sucked in, but let me put my hand in to show you. That is what they look like when there's something inside them. Pretty good. I've just got to the blue section, so I'm really pleased about that. I knit these most of the way home, from Scotland to Manchester and then from Manchester home. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with these, and Phoebe's really excited to get them. It's been a long time since I've knit socks on Magic Loop. It's been a long time since I've knit socks 2 at a time. I know these are not socks, but they're as good as. I remember that I don't really enjoy the yarn management of knitting Magic Loop 2 at a time. It can get very, very tangled, but I'm glad I'm doing it for this. It's good to have lots of different techniques on the go and remind yourself how to do them. So those are Phoebe's leg warmers. And the final finished object I'm going to share with you is also socks. It's just socks. And it's Dan's socks. I can't remember where I got to with these the last time I showed them to you. Oh, they're living in my Cocoa and Flora bag. Eva has the Cocoa and Flora podcast, and she also has the Cocoa and Flora shop on Etsy, and everything she does is just perfect. and this was a gift for me last year now, and it's just wonderful. It's one of my favourite bags. It's even got the little stitch marker that's an umbrella there to match. And inside here is the socks that I'm making for Dan. And I can't remember how far I'd got when I last showed you, so I just wanted to show you because I've turned the heel on the first sock. I'm doing these cuff down, I'm doing them concurrently, and I'm doing these on 20cm DPNs. So I've got my DPN holder, which is extra long from Rachel at So Me. This was a custom order that I made from Rachel. And this is another one, which I've got for the other sock. And this is by a lovely viewer of this podcast called Suzanne. She is inside number 24. No. Oh, why do I always get this number wrong? Inside number 24, I'm sure it is, on Instagram. And she is the most wonderful sewer. And she made me a bag in this fabric and the DPN holder to match, and it's the perfect size for the longer DPNs. And I've got another one of those as a prize for the Strictly Sock Along as well, but I'll talk about that another time. And this is the sock where I've turned the heel for Dan. I'm using a little French Meadow, a sort of navy blue mini for the heel. I had a few options and Dan chose the one that he wanted me to use as the contrast. And this is what they look like. And I'm now back. Am I? Yes, I think I've done the gusset decreases. Oh no, I've got a few more gusset decreases to do before I'm back to my original stitch count on those, but I'm really pleased with how they're looking. The yarn is really, really nice. It's called Hot Socks. It's Grindle Hot Socks Pearl Colour with Cashmere. And the colour is colour number 8. That's it. I bought this at the Southern Wool Show last year, and I'm going to the Southern Wool Show this year, and it's not this weekend but the weekend after. So if you're going, say hello. That'd be really, really good. I'm going with my mum because she didn't go last year, so I'm really, really excited. I'm going to meet up with some knitty friends while I'm there, and I'm really looking forward to it. It'd be a nice way to get over the post-holiday blues. I'm trying to organise this to show you a bit better, but I don't think I can. So yeah, not much to say about those other than, yeah, I'm a bit worried that I haven't left myself enough yarn to do the foot, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it if it turns out that I don't have enough. I'll work out what to do if that becomes a problem. Hopefully it won't. Keep your fingers crossed for me. And the other one is a lot further back. So once I get back to the original stitch count on these, I will then catch up with this sock, and then I will have 2 socks, neck and neck. Okay, let's move on to, oh, I haven't put the DPN holder back in. Let's move on to incoming. Now, I got quite a few incoming things over the period of July, and I spoke about them all as they came in on my vlogs. So I'm not going to cover them again now because we'll be here all day. But I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone that has sent me something or asked if they could send me something, or just for the very fact that you want to. I'm astounded that you want to, and I'm eternally grateful for it. I never feel deserving. And the people that send me stuff always say they just want to say thank you for the podcast, and I just want to say thank you for watching the podcast, because doing these podcasts and these vlogs and things means a lot to me, and being able to do them is important and to me. So I get a lot from them. So I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for your generosity, and to everyone that sent me things. I've got a few things that have arrived since that I don't think I have spoken about. I'm hoping I'm not going to forget anything. So I got a few bits that arrived just before I went away on holiday, and something that arrived whilst I was away on holiday as well. So, and I also did a swap with somebody just before I went away. So I just wanted to share those bits with you. So the first things I wanted to share, I got a really surprise parcel from Shelley, who is Kiki Lucy on Instagram. Now, we did a swap last year, and just randomly she sent me a box which she called Christmas in July. And it was absolutely stuffed full of things. I don't know how she got it all into this one box. I'm not going to show you everything, but I just wanted to show you a couple of the things that were included. So thank you so much, Shelley. She sent me, among other things, in this box, onion soup, which, as you all know, I love, and we can't get here anymore for some peculiar reason. She sent me a new scrubby. She sent me one of these when we did our swap, and I used it until it fell apart. So I was so excited when I saw this in the box, Shelley. I was just like, yes, it's another scrubby. These are absolutely perfect for doing pots and pans because they're so good at getting stuff off, but they're not harsh. So now that I've shown you that, I'm going to chuck it in the sink. Okay, that just landed in the dishwasher, but less said about that the better. At least I know where it is. She also sent me loads of other bits and bobs. Some sheep ornaments. She sent these little best friend necklaces for the girls, which they wore all the way to Scotland. She sent me this really nifty little thing called Fix-a-Stitch, which is like these little two-ended crochet hooks for picking up stitches in knitting, which I've never seen before, and I will use that all the time. She sent me stitch markers, she sent me Christmassy bits, she sent me sweets, she sent me Reese's Pieces, she sent me a little Canada pin, which Lilia has got her eye on because she now collects enamel pins. She sent me a Not My Cat marker, and it says on the back, this is not your cat. And some other little bits. And I'll share with you my two absolute favourite things. She sent me a Christmas pickle. I was looking at it like, a Christmas pickle? I don't really understand. And then I realised it has an explanation on it. It says, it's Christmas, a time of jingle bells, stockings, presents under the tree and family traditions. Celebrate the holidays with a time-honoured German tradition and have fun with your family for years to come. Following an old world custom, parents waited until Christmas Eve to hide a small pickle ornament on the Christmas tree, tucking it out of sight among the branches. And on Christmas morning, the first family member to spot the pickle was rewarded with a special blessing for the coming year and received the first present from under the tree. Well, I love a slightly bonkers Christmas ornament, so if nothing else, and we will try to do that, we'll try and play spot the Christmas pickle on the tree on Christmas morning. But yeah, I love a bonkers Christmas ornament, so that is going to have pride of place, hidden place, on the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. So thank you, Shelley, for that. This was the most amazing part of this whole thing. I mean, the whole thing was amazing, but this was like the never-ending cup of yarn. So there was this Christmas cup, which is like a perfect hot chocolate mug, which is shaped like a snowman, and it's full of minis. And I thought, oh, how lovely, it's full of minis. But it's like endless minis. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 minis. Hello. I said that we might get interrupted. So we've got Phoebe here.
Hi.
Say hello to everyone. So
Hi,
obviously
everyone.
it's a school holiday, so I do have company today. And they do know that I'm filming a podcast, but I did suspect that we might get interrupted. So these are all the minis. Are you all right? Do you need anything?
Okay.
Yes, for half an hour.
Yay.
Shut the door, Dave.
Bye, everyone.
She wants to go on her Kindle for half an hour. She was happy to whisper it to me, but clearly didn't want to let you know. Look at all these minis. Oh my goodness. Now these are all minis by a dyer who is a friend of Shelley's, and I've heard her mention him quite a lot. And she sent me, when we did our swap, she sent me some of his yarn before, and I haven't used it yet, but it just looks wonderful. So they're all yarns by Richard DeVries. She's just getting a charger. So they're all yarns by Richard DeVries, who's a Canadian dyer. And I think they're all on his Pepino sock base. This particular one is called Aquamarine. I do hope you can see all these. And all together they are just amazing. I haven't weighed them yet. They would make an amazing scarf all together. They would blend really nicely, but they would also make some really nice scrappy socks, and I do like scrappy socks. So what an amazing present, and what a surprise. I had no idea it was coming, and I was absolutely blown away by that. There you go, now it looks like it's got hair. Thank you so much, Shelley. What a wonderful present. And yeah, thank you. we all had a lot of fun opening it, and we all had some of the peanut butter cups after lunch today as well, and they were yummy. What else did I want to show you? Oh yeah, I got some bits today from a lovely viewer of this podcast called Jackie, and they're just over there, but I don't have two of them because the girls are gone. So she sent a couple of bits for me and a couple of bits for the girls. Now I don't have the bits for the girls, but I do have the bits for me. So one second. It was also beautifully wrapped as well. The girls' little gifts were just so beautiful. I'm sorry if I've knocked the camera. I keep forgetting not to touch the table. She sent me gin, a little bottle of sloe gin. I've never had sloe gin before. I've got to go back to work tomorrow, but it couldn't hurt, could it? Officially kind of the last day of my holiday. Couldn't hurt to have a sloe gin. And she sent me this wonderful little reindeer stitch marker. Again, it's like Christmas again. She sent me some Tea Pigs tea and a little notepad, and both the girls got a little notepad with a different print on it as well, so they were absolutely thrilled to bits with those. They love a notepad. And they all have this beautiful little, look, I kept the tissue paper that the girls' ones were wrapped in. They've got these beautiful little stickers that look like stamps. And she also sent me, the most lovely card with such kind, lovely words in it. And thank you so much to you for saying all those things. And she sent me a lobster bottle stop, and that is definitely going to get used. Just love that. So thank you so much for those lovely things. That was a lovely surprise. We only went and picked those up today, so I haven't even messaged her to let her know that they've been received. So we'll do that once I've finished filming this. What else do I want to show you? Oh yes, I bought some yarn when I was in Scotland. There was a yarn shop. I looked up to see if there was any yarn shops in Aberdeen. That's the nearest town to where we were. And there was a little yarn shop just at the very top end of Union Street. So we did a little detour and went there. And she had some yarn there that was hand dyed in Glasgow. She had some other hand dyed yarn and some beautiful yarn as well, but they weren't specific to Scotland, and I wanted some Scottish yarn. Phoebe spotted this one, and her favourite colour is purple. It's by For the Love of Yarn. It is 100 grams of merino single ply sock, and the colour is called blackcurrant. And I'm pretty sure you can see why. And Phoebe chose this because she wants me to make her a beret or a beanie out of it. I'm kind of hoping I might be able to stretch it to make one for each of the girls, but I'm not sure I'll be able to do it in 50 grams. But yeah, so that's what Phoebe chose. I'm really pleased with that. So that's my souvenir yarn from Scotland. Again, I don't know where to put it, so I'll put it there. And oh yes, and I got my August mini screen club from Little French Meadow. I've completely lost track of these and whether or not I need to reorder, so I might message them today. So as usual, 2 little sweets. That looks like a chocolate lime to me. I'm really hoping it is because I love chocolate limes. And the August club is called Dreaming, and the 2 colours are called Dreamcatcher and Field of Dreams. So every month has a little mini theme, and then you get 2 bits of yarn, a stitch marker and a little sweet treat. And look how gorgeous these are. They are so clever. Alison and Yola, who are the dyers behind Little French Meadow. So this one I think must be Field of Dreams, and that one must be Dreamcatcher. But it might be the other way around. But they're gorgeous. And the stitch marker this time has a little note on it, and it says, "Dream a little dream." But really, really pretty. I'm going to add that to my little collection of Little French Meadow minis. And I'll put the sweets there for me to munch in a minute. And then the last thing, I did a swap with Marta, who is Auntie Marta on Ravelry. We were talking about doing the swap in January, and we just never got round to it, and we eventually did it in July. So we swapped a bag and yarn, and I sent her some tea and biscuits, and she sent me some Swiss chocolate because she's in Switzerland, so that worked out quite well for me. Look at the bag she sent me. Can you still see me? No, because I'm behind the bag. It's massive. It is absolutely perfect for a nice blanket project or a sweater project, or it's so good. And it's even got the cutest little label in it. I need to get some of these labels made that say Dodgy Bags, don't I? Anyway, I have no idea if you can see that, but it says Auntie M on it. And then we swapped yarn, so she sent me her own hand-dyed yarn, which is gorgeous. And it's all DK, because I'm trying to increase my DK stash. So it is 100% superwash Italian wool. There's 50 grams of each here. It's 120 metres in each... It's 120 metres in each 50 grams, so that makes it 240 grams per 100, doesn't it? Yeah. So she sent me 4 of those. Does it say what she's called the colour? Spring Drops, they're called. How beautiful are they? I mean, I can think of a million things I want to make with this already. Such lovely colours. So that's the yarn that she sent me. She also sent me some lovely, lovely stitch markers with her little... I'm not going to be able to open this now without dropping. Anyway, I'll show it to the box because it's so cool. But Auntie M, which makes me think of the Wizard of Oz. And part of our swap, she sent me one of her patterns. She said, go and choose one of your patterns. Or go and choose one of my patterns and I will give that to you on Ravelry. So she's got a few patterns and I chose Lilium Convallium, which is, I believe, the name of a flower. I printed it out in black and white, but it looks like this. You make it with DK yarn. Am I right? Sport weight yarn. So DK might work. And it is inspired by flowers. A sweet, delicate flower from her, a memory from her childhood. And it's inspired by those. And you can see it's got quite an interesting rib for the rim, which I really, really liked. So yeah, really, really like that. So that's the pattern that I chose. She sent me a card, she sent me the Swiss chocolate, she sent me a little crab drinks holder, which is just hilarious. She sent me a little kit. All the chocolate is in the fridge. She sent me a little kit for making a little bear, which Phoebe was rather excited about. And then she sent me some boot cuffs. So what you do is you put these at the top of your boots. Now I do wear boots all winter, and then you fold them over like that and it just keeps your legs extra warm, or looks like you're wearing extra chunky socks and it just looks nice. So she sent me those, and in the same colour yarn she sent me this amazing hat. Is this one of her ones? I don't know if this is one of her patterns or not. I haven't actually checked. It might be. But yeah, I would never have thought of making myself a hat with this colour. But I love it. I love it so much. I love this hat and it fits really, really well. And I just can't wait for it to be cold enough for me to wear it all the time. So it's really warm today. It's like up in the 70s, and after a week in Scotland, feels like a bit of a shock to the system, to be honest. Anyway, my new hat. I'm going to have to sort out my hair now. Not sure if that's any better. Yeah, so that was a brilliant swap. Thank you so much, Martha, for suggesting it. I really enjoyed doing it. Ooh, I feel quite dizzy. Right, where were we? Strictly Sock Along time. Okay, I've had loads of messages asking about the Strictly Sock Along, and it's one of the reasons I really wanted to get a podcast filmed today so I can start editing it and get it out before the end of the week. Yes, we are doing the Strictly Sock Along 2019, and I read somewhere online today that the launch show could be as early as Saturday the 7th of September, although they haven't announced it yet. So here's what I'm going to do. By the time this podcast goes live, the chatter thread will be up and running in the group, and it will be linked to below. So you can go and start discussing all your yarns, patterns and everything you're getting ready for the Strictly Sock Along. If you have not joined in before, or if you don't know what it is, here's the lowdown. The Strictly Sock Along is where we knit socks for the duration of the time that Strictly Come Dancing is on here in the UK. You don't have to be in the UK to join in. You can knit socks, you can crochet socks, as long as they're socks. There are a number of rules which you are encouraged to completely ignore, break, or creatively bend, whatever you prefer. The whole idea of it is that it's really, really silly and fun, a bit like Strictly itself. So, for example, one of the rules is that, so last year I tried to simplify it and made it a bit more complicated accidentally. So the first year we did it, we all cast on our socks on the night of the launch show. But the problem with that was that then there's like a 2 to 3 week lull before Strictly live shows start towards the end of September. So we're going to go back this year and just say, you can knit your socks and cast them on any time from the date of the Strictly Sock Along launch of the Strictly Come Dancing launch show, which we think at the moment is Saturday the 7th of September, but if that changes I'll let you know in the next podcast in a couple of weeks' time. So as long as you knit them within that period, it lasts until Christmas. So this is a really long sock along, and you can get lots of socks made. Or if you're just starting knitting socks and you want lots of time, that means you've got over 3 months to get your head around knitting a pair of socks. If you can hear that barking, it's next door's puppy. She's obviously getting excited out in the garden. So there's plenty of time for you to knit one pair of socks if you're a slow knitter or a new knitter, and there's plenty of time for you to knit a few pairs of socks if you're a more experienced knitter and you just love knitting lots of socks. You can knit one pair, you can knit 20 pairs, you can knit them whilst you're watching Strictly, or you can knit them as long as you can prove to me that somehow you knitted them within the spirit of Strictly Come Dancing. The whole idea is that you break the rules, basically. I shouldn't say that, should I? Bend the rules, creatively bend the rules, and the more cunning you use, and the more hilarious you are, the more likely you are to win prizes, because one of the prize categories is actually the rule bending prize. There are 5 prize categories. They are the 10 from Len prize, which is a random prize I will draw from the chatter thread when the first 10 is awarded on Strictly Come Dancing UK. There is a Halloween prize, so I will randomly draw someone from the finished objects thread after the Strictly Halloween special. So every year on the Saturday nearest to Halloween they have a Halloween special, and we have a Halloween prize drawn from that. So if you've got a finished object in the thread by Halloween, you'll be eligible to be drawn for a prize. We have the Made It Blackpool prize, which is a random drawing from the finished objects thread. So if you've got finished object in the finished objects thread by the date of the Blackpool show, which is when all the contestants go and film a live show from the famous ballroom at Blackpool, then you'll be eligible for a prize, which I'll draw at random then. At the end of the sock along, I will draw a rule bending prize, at least one. It depends how many prizes I have by the end of the sock along. What happened last time was I had all the prizes for the categories, but as the sock along went on, more and more people sent prizes. So then when that happened, I just increased the number of prizes for that category and the last one, which I'll tell you in a minute. So that there were just more options for people at the end of the sock along to win prizes. So the rule bending prize will be chosen by me at my discretion for people who have done the best creative rule bending and the use of cunning and underhand tactics to take part in the sock along. And then finally, there is the Fabulous prize, which again is drawn at the end of the cow, but it's a random prize, and I will draw at least one from the finished objects thread and at least one from the chatter thread as well. I've already started gathering prizes. They are all around me, and my intention was to show them to you now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save that for next time, because like I said, I really want to get this podcast filmed and out to you as quickly as I can. I want to catalogue all the things that I've got and really spend a bit of time showing you. But I've already got quite a few yarn prizes. I'm going to throw in a dodgy bag, and I've just got some really good stuff already. If you are interested in donating a prize for the sock along, do get in touch. You can either send it to me, which is fine. It's slightly easier for me if you would like to send the prize directly to the winner of that prize. I've not done that before, but it sort of makes the organisation of it a bit easier in terms of postage and things. I'll let you know when I've got enough prizes, because it can get a bit overwhelming otherwise. And I've got some really good stuff already. But if you would like to donate a prize, I'm not going to say no. That would be really lovely of you, because the more prizes there are, the more people can win, which is great. What else? Crocheting is welcome. Knitting is welcome. You can double dip anywhere you like. Usually I think the crochet sock along happens around the same time. I'm not sure if they're doing that again this year. Hopefully they are. So if you're doing that and you're a crocheter, you can double dip in that. And the only rule that can't be broken is socks have to be finished in order to be eligible for prizes. That's the only thing. Everything else is up for bending and breaking. So you might live in another country, so you might have a different version of Strictly Come Dancing or Dancing with the Stars. Maybe you're wearing your dancing shoes whilst you're knitting your socks. Maybe you have a glitter ball in your house. Maybe you're related to one of the dancers on Strictly or another country's version of it. Just come up with something. Come up with a reason why you can knit your socks anytime you like. Come up with a reason why you can knit it whilst watching another programme entirely. It's up to you, but you have to, when you post it in the finished objects thread, make sure you let me know how you bent the rules, because then you could be eligible for a prize for your cunning. Right, I think that's everything. I feel like I have talked at speed, but I also feel like I have talked at length at the same time. Goodness knows what this is all going to be like. I feel like I'm missing something as well. I have forgotten something. I've just remembered. I have got a couple of giveaways to announce, and I can't believe that I completely forgot about this, because this is like one of the major things that I wanted to do in this episode. So the 6,000 subscriber giveaway that I mentioned, I have a few things that I have to give away for that. And what I've decided to do ahead of the Strictly Sock Along is to do that all as one big multiple giveaway now, because a lot of it relates to socks. So we passed the 6,000 subscriber giveaway. We passed the 6,000 subscriber mark a little time ago. Which is absolutely wonderful, and I can't believe it. And I have 1, 2, 3 sock patterns and some sock yarn to give away, and I have got an amigurumi book as well. So let's show you all the bits. Now, in my July vlogs, I spoke about some yarn that I got from lovely Jilly, who is Mrs. S Creations. Now, Jilly makes lovely, lovely bags, and she has recently started dyeing yarn. I'm going to try not to crinkle. She sent me 2 skeins of yarn, and she said, pick one for you and use one for your giveaway. And she specifically mentioned my 6,000 subscriber. Why can't I talk all of a sudden? My 6,000 subscriber giveaway. So she sent me 2. She sent me the golden peach colourway, which is this one, which I really hope you can see properly through the cellophane, because it really is a gorgeous colour. And in there is a little stitch marker, which is a rainbow, and some tea as well, and that's her little card. And the one that I chose to keep for myself is the one called Seascape. And if you've watched my podcast for any amount of time or follow me on Instagram, you know how much I love being near the sea. And this one really does remind me of the sea. It is absolutely beautiful. This is called Seascape. Oh, and I should just say, this is on her titanium sock base, which is 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon, and you get 425 meters per 100 grams. And then this one, which I've chosen as the prize, is her BFL platinum sock, which is a 75% superwash blue face Leicester and 25% nylon. You get the same meterage in that as well. So I prefer this colourway, but BFL is actually one of my favourite things to knit with. So you're getting a really good fibre there and a beautiful colourway if you're the winner of that. And then the one I've chosen is the superwash merino one, and it is so lovely feeling. It's a really slippery feeling yarn. Really looking forward to knitting that. Yeah, so thank you so much, Jilly, for that. And because you couldn't see on the other one, that is what the little stitch marker looks like that you get with it, with the prize. So that is one of the prizes for the for the 6,000 subscriber giveaway. And I also have some pattern prizes. So first of all, I've got the Gypsophilia socks, which is a pattern by Sue. Sue, I've forgotten what your name is on Ravelry. Let's have a quick look. Sorry about that. It's Susan Hardy. She is, that's her designer name on Ravelry. And the pattern that she sent a copy to me, and she said that I would be welcome to give a copy away as a prize. They're called the Gypsophilia socks. She said she knit 2 pairs of these out of 1 ball of West Yorkshire spinners. This is the pattern. I don't... That's not going to work. I think it's just going to reflect everything. So what I'm going to do is put a picture up on the screen of the pattern. They're a really lovely sort of open, lacy worked sock. So that's going to be one of the patterns. I also have the Country Garden socks by Ellie of Craft House Magic. Thank you so much, Ellie, for offering one of those for me and as a prize as well. And also I have got the Come Together socks by Lily of Nordic Stitches. Thank you so much, Lily. Once again, she gave me a copy and a copy for the podcast, and they are, that is a pattern designed specifically for using minis and scraps of yarn. So perfect if you're thinking about my Richard Revise yarns here from Shelley in Canada. Are those all the 3? Yes, so those are the 3 sock patterns. So that's one sock yarn, 3 sock patterns, and I'm going to put them all as separate giveaways. Sorry, I'm going to put them all as separate giveaways on my Ravelry. Oh, should I do that? What should I do? I don't know how to do a giveaway properly using comments. I'm going to put them all on my Ravelry as separate threads, and I'm going to link to those threads in the show notes below. That is the easiest way for me to do giveaways, so that's how I'm going to stick to doing it for now. And then I've got 2 copies of the new book from the people at Meteor Books. They very kindly sent me their newest book. It's coming out on the 1st of September and it will be available to buy then. They've sent me my own copy as well. These are books that I'm a huge fan of. I love amigurumi, and I particularly love the designers that the Zumigurumi books include. I have not made anything from this one yet. The girls and I have been looking through it though, and oh my goodness, Phoebe actually has a favourite dinosaur. So I should say that this is called Dinosaurs, Mammoths and More, Prehistoric Amigurumi. This is the book. It has got 14 patterns in here, and there isn't a single one that I don't want to make. But Phoebe's favourite one is Peaches, the Triceratops, because Triceratops are her favourite dinosaur. She has Triceratops t-shirts, Triceratops necklaces, Triceratops notebooks, pens, everything. So that's going to be the first thing that gets made. Personally, where's the little one that I really like? He's got a... here he is. Oh, he's the one before the Triceratops, I think. Is it that one? Yeah. This one, Paula, the Parasaurolophus. I'm really bad with dinosaur names. And I like Paula because Paula has a little pet dinosaur of her own. Don't know if you can see. Look, she's got her own little pet dinosaur. And on the back, it shows you all 14 of the patterns as well. I've got 1 copy to give away on the podcast and 1 copy to give away on Instagram. So I'm going to post the Instagram one. I don't know why I'm showing you because they're exactly the same. I'll post the Instagram one when this video goes live, so you can enter here on the podcast or you can enter over on Instagram as well. To enter here on the podcast, again, I'm going to make a thread over on Ravelry. If I can work out how to easily do giveaways using the comments, I will, but it won't be for this particular giveaway. Bear with me while I work that out, sorry. Like I said, I'm having a bit of trouble at the moment with making decisions and finding things out and getting my brain to work. It's one of the reasons why I haven't podcasted in a while. I haven't really been myself. I haven't really been able to think clearly. So for now, just for my sanity and for ease of everything, I'm going to keep the giveaway threads on Ravelry. I hope that's okay with everybody. can't believe I nearly forgot to do the giveaways. So hop on over, the links for all of the threads are below, so it's really easy to just click on those links and go straight there, answer the prompt and be in with a chance to win. I'll announce the winners on the next podcast, and good luck. Oh yes, I did also want to say that I've had loads and loads of messages about my little Drops of Wonderful pins. I have got a whole new batch of them and I'm about to put 250 up for sale sometime next week. And I will link to that listing below. If I can get them up by the time this podcast goes up, I will. If not, it will be by the end of next week. So what's the date today? So I'm filming this on Tuesday the 20th. So hopefully by the can't speak. The end of next week. What will next week be? 27th, 28th, 20th. By the 30th. By the end of the month. There you go. Hopefully they will all be up on ready for sale, and I'll put a note on YouTube as well. This is the pin. You are a little drop of wonderful. That is my little cheerful pin. I had designed another one which had a Christmas design, but I had a terrible time of it with the production of them. It was the fault of the people that produced them, and they did admit that, and they gave me a full refund. But I am going to have to find another supplier because I wasn't very happy with their customer service when it happened, and they just let me down a bit. So I've got another idea, and I do have another company in mind. So I don't know if they'll be ready in time for Christmas. That's the only thing, but we'll see. I've got lots of ideas and lots of plans at the moment swimming around, so I'm hoping that I will be able to bring all those things to fruition and just get out of my own way and stop telling myself that my ideas are stupid, or that they won't work, or how the hell is that going to happen anyway, and that kind of thing. I just need to move aside from my own head, leave myself alone and stop bullying myself, and just ignore those silly little voices that tell me I shouldn't do things, and give it a go. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Have I just waffled at you forever without actually saying anything of use? I don't know. Anyway, we had a lovely time in Scotland. It was absolutely brilliant. We stayed in a place called Balmiddy, which is just north of Aberdeen. I am going to do a little vlog about our trip to Scotland, but it's going to be something a bit special and a bit new and something a bit scary. So there will be news about that hopefully by the next podcast in a couple of weeks' time. So on that cliffhanger, I will leave you. Until I see you in a couple of weeks' time, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy crafting, and I will see you soon. Bye. That is a chocolate lime. Da 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 da.